So welcome to inCARnation. Today Stu and I have an amazing car to share with you. Believe it or not, it's a 20-year-old 996 Porsche Turbo. All-wheel drive, an evolution from the 993 and then the 930 before that. The Turbo's always been the flagship of the 911 range. We're going to have a great time sharing it with you today. Stu, keys?
But hang on a sec, who are we? Mark is a race driving instructor, whether it's setting lap records in GT cars in Japan or China, or his wins in Formula cars in Europe, or winning the Aston Martin Cup Championship. That's Mark. Me, I'm Stu. I'm not quite so well known, but I've owned and driven some pretty nice cars. I'm also a race driving coach and way too old to be an internet sensation. Together, Mark and I are inCARnation. Mark, today's video is dedicated to the memory of a fantastic engineer called Hans Metzger, and he died last week, aged 90. Now Hans was if you're talking Porsche turbos, he is the Porsche turbo engineer. He joined the company the year before I was born, and if you look at how old I am, that's an awfully long time ago.
That's pretty old.
Yeah, but he was the guy that in the racing division, firstly he helped design the flat 12 motor in the 917s, the one Le Mans in the early 70s.
Yep, that's right.
And then by the mid-80s, he was designing the TAG V6 Formula 1 motor that won 3 world championships for Alain Prost and Niki Lauda. He designed the GT1 engine in the Le Mans winning 1998 Porsche GT1, and that was a twin turbo flat 6, that the classic archetypal Porsche motor. Now guess what? He took that motor in this car. Yes. When the Porsche 996 Turbo first came out, it had around 415 horsepower, I think 309 kilowatts, and that was pretty awesome for its day, for the first of the water-cooled turbos.
Yep.
Big step up. The Turbo S version, or was it, as it was known, the X50, had 450 horsepower. So this car has gone a step better. This car has over 650 horsepower and 780 newton meters of torque. Right. So that's the same as the current just released 992 Turbo S, has 650 horsepower and 800 newton meters of torque. Very similar spec.
What do you think we can wind this one up to, Stu, or is it wound up about as far as it'll go?
Standard Porsche Turbo runs about 0.7 to 0.8 bar of boost. That's around 10 psi. This car runs 20 psi.
Yeah, right.
So 1.4 bar. You can see on the dash there, it shows the bar, the boost pressure, currently showing 0.0 bar of boost. As soon as it gets up over 1 bar, I am not looking at the instruments. Yeah. I am looking at the road, because this car just grabs the horizon and sucks it through the windscreen. This motor went into this car, the GT3 and the GT2. So you raced the GT3s, didn't you? The 996 GT3?
I have, yeah. The first ever GT3s, 996, back in 2000, 20 years ago.
Yeah. So that's this motor, but without the turbos.
Yeah. So it's an awesome motor. It's stood the test of time, hasn't it? Still has that great sound and great torque, and that's what, when you think of a Porsche engine, that's what you think of, that flat 6 and that really nice induction noise that you get.
So, God bless you, Hans Metzger. Thank you for creating such a pearl of a motor. Wow, this is pretty choppy along here, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a little bit choppy than I thought it was going to be when I'm sitting in this car with the medium adjusted Bilsteins.
Yes.
It is a little rough.
It's too soft for the track and a little bit too firm for the road.
Yeah. And again, the one thing with Porsche they always get right is just the weight of their steering. Really nice feel on the steering. They've just got that ratio of weight exactly right. From a driver's point of view, that's one of the things I really love about Porsche.
Pop, 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 burble, burble, burble. Yep. That's a yes from me.
But that was about half throttle.
So Mark, how do you like the manual in this car, and how would you compare this to the automatic version?
The manual in the car is really good. Certainly if you compare it to the auto of the day, which was the Tiptronic transmission. We had little toggles on the steering wheel back then. They were pretty ordinary, to be honest. The Porsche kind of persisted with those for quite a while, and never really a fan of them. They're a little bit counterintuitive to use, I thought. So the manual is actually good. You know, it feels a little old now in some respects in terms of the shifting mechanism, but it's still way better than the auto of the day.
And if you were to compare this to the latest 8-speed PDK paddle shift?
There's no comparison really these days. The current PDK transmission with Porsche is one of the best transmissions you're going to get. The paddle shifts work brilliantly. Porsche finally got it right. To be honest, it took them quite a while to catch up with Ferrari in that respect. Ferrari have been way ahead with their transmissions for many years, but Porsche are really there now, and their transmissions work beautifully. The current PDK is, you know, probably the best transmission in the world.
As well as that, this car takes a while to build boost, doesn't it? You get on it and you wait, and then kaboom, off it goes. The latest turbo has got such a flat wall of torque and 8 speeds.
It's always on boost. You can feel with this car, it does have a little bit of lag down low. You expect that, but then when it comes on with a hell of a bang, and you just run out of road real quick, and you got to get off the gas because it just eats the road up so quickly.
Hang on, here we go. Oh my god, and that's third gear. Boy, that launches.
So don't ask me what the bar was on that, Stuart, because I wasn't looking.
It's probably... yeah, that's very impressive. It's even more impressive in the passenger seat, I have to say.
Well, the Porsche Turbo, certainly in Australia, has a really great pedigree with tarmac rallies, doesn't it? You know, in the hands of people like Jim Richards, are very successful, and you can certainly see why a car like this was a weapon of choice for those guys in those events, because just the traction that the car has, the all-wheel drive system, obviously biased to the rear, but you know it'll let the front grip up when it needs to grip up. A very clever system for its day and for its era, and the traction is amazing. With the extra horsepower out of this car, though, I think you could pretty much overcome that traction if you wanted to.
Okay.
Just under 7,000 revs there. But you know, with a Porsche, the engine is so strong that it's going to handle it. I mean, you could never use all the horsepower in this car on the road, on a public road. Maybe in an autobahn in Germany you could. Here in Australia, very difficult, but just a little squirt like we gave it back there up to the speed limit, pretty awesome. And you know, a really good feeling to. You just feel there's so much technology working there for you. There's so much traction out of the transmission and out of the all-wheel drive system. It just absolutely launches off the line.
Mark, I think we've got some corners coming up.
So a little bit of an opportunity to sort of see how the car handles. Relatively slow speed, but again, really responsive. You can give the engine a nice little heel and toe downshift there. It shifts back really well. Again, you can feel just the traction out of the corners there. Third gear when it comes on boost.
It's old school turbo, isn't it, this one?
It's not quite 930 old school turbo, but it's not far off, is it?
Well, the 930 by this stage would have thrown us backwards into a tree and we'd be on our way up to heaven.
Absolutely.
Can I say that? Oh, that was nice. Oh, that's pretty. Can I stop and take a look at the...
There's a little bit of wheel spin for you, Stu, right up to the speed limit.
You were spinning the front wheels as well then?
That's something you probably wouldn't get out of a standard Porsche turbo. And you can feel there with the extra power, the extra boost you've got here, it just lights up those wheels. The balance of the car is beautiful. It's a really neutral car. I mean, it would, you know, generally they'll understeer a little more than oversteer, but I can tell with this car, with the extra power and extra boost you've got, you're really going to be able to step the back out if you wanted to do it on these slightly greasy roads, but we're not going to be going there today, Stu. You feel there the traction, all-wheel drive working for you when you're, particularly when you've got a nicely cambered corner. You can just feel how that's really working for you through that.
Oh, wow. Ridiculous power.
Kind of a fun little corner coming up here, and you know, you can just give it a really nice little heel and toe down into second gear, look right through the corner.
I saw the way you turned your head there. Is that how you look around a corner?
Sounds pretty basic, but a lot of people don't do it very well, and it's so important to get that right.
I can tell you're only using 1/4 throttle there.
Get that nice little burble back through the exhaust there.
Wow, what a section of road. For our international viewers, we're in Australia.
Brakes are fantastic. Probably if you were on a track, I think you'd probably run this thing out of brakes pretty quickly with the amount of boost and the amount of power you've got. But on road, of course, you see the current Porsche technology, and you see that the sheer size of the calipers and rotors, the units on this car look tiny by comparison. But still, they work really, really well. Great ABS system.
They don't have the same muscular wheel arches that the earlier ones do, and I think a lot of people didn't like the styling. It doesn't have the fried egg headlights of the other 996 models. Porsche listened.
Yeah, they just changed those headlights slightly, didn't they? But it made a big difference to the appeal of this car over the GT3 or the standard 911 of this era.
Now, the observant viewer will notice that this car's headlights are slightly modified with a $10 cellophane modification to make them a little bit more oval looking. So some people prefer that, a lot of purists don't like it. So apologies if you're offended, leave a message in the comments, flame the owner of the car, go ahead. What about presentation, street appeal of this car?
It's pretty understated, isn't it, in a lot of ways, and most Porsche Turbo owners probably want their car to be a little understated, not in your face, and Porsche achieved that with this car. So you got a lot of performance. It's understated. I'd say probably, I don't know, maybe 3.8.
Okay. Do you like the red? Red's pretty unusual for this car.
Very unusual. Yeah, it's the only one I've ever seen. So it's a rare colour. Most people want silver, black, or grey for these. Majority of them you see are in those colours. But yeah, it looks great in this colour, I think. It really stands out.
It's called Orient Red, this colour. So performance score. Come on, Mark, you can do it. What do you reckon?
I think performance, there's a lot of performance out of this car. We know it's not a standard 996, so it's a fair bit in front of your average 996. It's got to be, I'd say 4.8 on performance, because it's an absolute rocket.
4.8 on the performance score, that's brilliant. And look, the price thing, is it value for money? I would argue that of all the turbos, all the air-cooled ones are stupid, crazy pricing. All the later ones have held their value pretty well. The 996 is the bargain turbo. So particularly if you can find one that like this. So I'm going to push for a fairly high score on the pricing in terms of value for money.
Yep.
It's still going to cost you $100 grand, a car like this in Australia. What do you think?
It's a lot of car for the money, isn't it? Yeah, I'd say probably 3.5. I mean, in terms of Porsche Turbo, all-wheel drive, it's a lot of technology, it's a lot of car. Yes, it's still a lot of money in real terms, but when you're talking Porsche, it's actually pretty good value.
Do you realise we're doing 45 k's an hour and we're in 4th gear? And it's still pulling, and it's not going.
And that's why this car's an everyday driver as well. Whilst you got a lot of performance out of it, it's tweaked up fairly big time with turbos and boost and everything else, but I could use it as a daily driver. Maybe soften the suspension a little bit, but the car's really easy to drive down low.
What happened to a good old-fashioned analog volume knob to turn the volume down? You've got to fiddle through all these buttons. Practicality. I think it's actually not going to score too well here, because look, have a look in the boot and you'll see there's an engine in the way. You can't put anything back there, and if you open the front, disappointed, not a lot there either. So really you've only got this space behind the seat here. There are 2 little fold-down seats, but anyone older than about 4 years of age, you know what to put there.
No. What about the glove box, Stu?
Oh, no, you don't even get a glove box. They didn't even give us a glove box. There are a couple of little dinky pockets here, and there's this little thing here, and that's it. So, 2.5.
Yeah, maximum 2.5, I think.
Yeah. Porsche, you suck.
From a driver's point of view, this car has a lot of personality. It's again, you'd love to see it sitting in your driveway. You'd enjoy driving it every day of the week. I think it's got huge personality. From my point of view as a driver, 4 for sure.
You watch the road, and the viewers can watch the score here. See, there it is. Geez, you are so precise, mate. You are shaving these bushes by about 1 inch. Woo! Wow, this is fun, this car. There's a red sign that says reduce speed.
When do you reckon? About now?
It's your call, mate. You're the driver. I'm just the navigator. Woo! And it's wet. Oh, he thought about it. Easy, boyo. Whoa. Take a breath.
Well, that's enough to put a smile on your face, Stu.
You know, this car review business, it beats working in it as a checkout chick, I can tell you.
Have you done that?
Yeah, my first job was a checkout chick.
How could you not like this car? It's a real driver's car. I just love the extra horsepower it's got. And I'm always a little scared with cars that have this much horsepower in terms of what it's doing to the reliability of the vehicle, but you know when you've got a Porsche, you've just got probably the world's most reliable engine and car. The build quality is just so solid. The extra, it can handle the extra horsepower every day of the week. Probably on a track, maybe the brakes wouldn't, but around here on the road, no problems at all. Gives you so much confidence, and we're just sitting here on the speed limit, but that's the speed limit around these corners as well, which probably normally would be doing maybe 30 k's an hour. In this car, I'm on the speed limit, I'm doing 60 k's an hour, but the car's just handling it beautifully. Our first gear, slowing right down. Okay, I'm ready. Yep. Well, there's a bit of rev limiter there, Stu. Second gear, it's a nice soft cut.
Yeah. Now, how about fourth gear? How fast are we going? 50 k's an hour, full throttle. How smooth is that?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll do. Thank you very much. No fuss, no grumble, no kick from very low revs. 55 k's an hour, third gear, and it just pulls. Yep.
So there you go, that's the 996 Porsche Turbo. It's a 20-year-old car. In its day, without doubt, one of the best cars you could possibly buy. A fantastic performance car. We know this car's far from standard, as we've already found out. It's got a lot of horsepower. It's a little bit of a bone rattler on the suspension, but it is a beast of a vehicle. Without doubt, it's going to be a future classic car. So that's inCARnation for today. Thanks for joining us. If you have a car that you'd like us to review, please leave a note in the comments below. We'll do our best to get it to you, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks for watching the video. We've got a heap of really interesting cars coming up straight away, so please subscribe to the channel so we can keep producing content. We want to bring videos like this one out every week. See you soon.